Hello, ghosties. You're listening to Not My Ghost,
Not my problem. I'm Kelly.
and I'm Jen.
Whether you're a skeptic, a true believer, or somewhere in between, join us for a journey into the unknown.
Because remember, when it comes to the paranormal, it may not be our problem.
But it's certainly someone's problem. Jen, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, Kelly?
I'm tired. I had a busy weekend and I had a long day today, but I am excited for our episode.
Me too. I'm even more excited because it's not my episode, it's yours. So I just get to sit back, listen, and drink my wine.
I remember, so I was drinking wine, I think, in the first episode.
Yeah, because the second
Okay.
episode we recorded at like 10 a.m.
So I had that bottle of wine in the refrigerator. And today, after cleaning my entire kitchen and mopping the floor, I accidentally knocked the bottle out of the refrigerator and it hit the
Oh
floor and it was kind of
no.
like a fizzy wine. So it just exploded all over the freshly mopped floor. So I had to go through and remop the entire floor. And then I was so tired, I made a cup of coffee and then I spilled my coffee all over my sweatshirt. So then I just went and sat down in the recliner and zoned out for about 25 minutes.
That's fair. So you're upset about the dirty floor and your dirty sweatshirt. I'm upset that you spilled wine and coffee
Right,
and you wasted it.
right. I wasn't happy about that either, but at the same time, I was more just, really? I just finished cleaning.
Defeated. I
Yes,
know the
very
feeling.
defeated. So how was your
Yes.
week?
My week has been okay. I am staying at my aunt's house right now because I'm pup sitting for her dog while she is in Alaska. So I've been here over a week now. So I'm definitely ready to go home, just like my own space, but it's cool being somewhere else
Yeah.
for a little bit.
So we have our unscripted banter,
Yes, my favorite part.
and I have a question for you for it.
Ooh, okay. What's your question?
Because we had said that each episode they're going to learn, like our listeners will learn more about us. So I thought I should probably ask you something about yourself or I think that that would be fun just so they get to know us.
Okay.
So, and I'll answer the question too. So my question for you is, what is the most embarrassing song on your phone right now?
There is this song that was a video that was going around, and it is about a puppy dog bouncing in the box like this, or this, I guess. Puppy dog bouncing in the box like this. You ever seen that video?
I have not, but
So it was just the chorus, and there was just a little dog literally in a box, just bouncing up and down in the box over and over to that chorus. And I thought it was hilarious. It was really funny. And then I'm scrolling through Instagram one day a couple years ago and find that there is an entire song of puppy dog bouncing in the box like this. And it is just all about how this guy loves his dog. And I have the song on my phone and it just shuffles in my music and it's amazing.
that's great. Now, I have a similar one. Have you heard of the Kiffness?
No.
Okay, so the Kiffness is a guy who watches videos of animals and listens to them like meowing and like tries to figure out what it sounds like that animal is saying. And then he
Okay.
creates a song around it. You might be familiar with the I Go Meow cat that's
Yes.
been going around. So the Kiffness turned that into the song that
Okay.
we kind of saw on all of the videos. By the way, rest in peace to the sweet kitty, because the
Oh,
kitty did pass away.
poor
Um,
kitty.
he does this song where this cat is meowing and it sounds like, "Hold on to my fur," and the dog is like, "Hold on to my fur, I like it," and the dogs are barking, and it's this whole bop, and it makes me so happy that I had when I saw that I could get it on Spotify, I had to put it on my playlist, and I love it when it comes on when I'm alone, but if I have somebody else in the car, they're like,
What
"What the
is
hell is this?"
this?
But you know
Oh,
what?
that's
They
great.
laugh at it too, it makes them happy as well.
Yeah, that's all that matters.
I don't have a lot of shame about the music on my phone because all of it is a lot of it is songs from my childhood or, songs that remind you of a particular time in your life or whatever, so
Absolutely. I know
I
I
don't
have
shame.
everything from Taylor Swift, who my favorite, but, Ed Sheeran, Eminem, Nelly back from my childhood, Hot in Here. Used to
Yeah.
shake my ass to that song. Oh, that's great.
I mean, I've got Taylor Swift, and then I've got Disturbed, and I've got Metallica, and then I've got Journey, and then I've got
Oh, yeah.
Eminem.
I have all
Just
the 2000s emo music. Oh, it's my
yeah.
jam.
Yeah, it was a great time.
It was.
Okay,
Wonderful time.
so today I think that's the end of our scripted, unscripted banter.
Yes. We can move
Oh,
on. You said you have a hefty episode for us, so let's get
it
into it.
depends. We'll see. So this episode is heavy on the history, which I love because I love history as well. And we're going to be talking about the haunt of Capitol Hill.
Ooh.
So I have some fun facts about Washington, D.C. The first one is that Washington, D.C. residents drink more wine per capita than anywhere else in the U.S. Now, Jen, I know that you are working very hard to change that to St. Augustine, Florida.
I am. I really am. I mean, I don't know how it's not possible when they see the amount of wine that I drink, but
Well, never give up on your dreams, Jen.
I will never stop trying as I take a sip of wine.
So, also, two U.S. presidents, Herbert Hoover and John Quincy Adams, kept alligators as pets in the White House.
Are they from Florida? Like, were they
I, I,
born in
I don't
Florida?
know where they're from. I don't know.
That's a very Floridian thing to do.
Florida man keeps alligator in the White House.
Yes.
This last one is my favorite. The National Cathedral has many gargoyles on it, and one of them is a sculpted head of Darth Vader.
Wow. I did not know that.
Yeah, the next time you're in DC, bring your binoculars and check him out on the Northwest Tower.
I'm gonna have to Google a picture of it.
Yeah. So we have some scary or not so fun facts, I guess, fits better about
Yeah, okay.
Washington, DC. It has very high crime rate. Parts of DC experience higher crime rate than the national average. It also has a very historical dark past. Like any major city, DC has dark chapters, including its role in the history of slavery and civil rights struggle. Also, to take into account is security concerns. Given its status as the nation's capital, DC is a potential target for security threats, leading to heightened measures and occasional scares. So, that is our fun and scary, or not so fun facts.
Not so fun. I like that. Maybe we change it. Maybe it's fun and not so fun facts.
I think it depends on what facts we have. Sometimes we might have scary facts.
That's true.
So, to start this episode off, I'm going to give a very brief history of Washington, D.C. So, Washington, D.C. is officially known as the District of Columbia. It has a rich and complex history. Early history of DC, when it was established, is the Residence Act of 1790 established Washington, D.C. as the nation's capital. It was chosen by President George Washington and situated along the Potomac River between Maryland and Virginia. The design,
Hold up, I have to stop you. I thought it was in the room where it happened. I thought that's how it was chosen. At least according to Hamilton, it was not picked by George Washington.
it was
It was
just in the
picked
room where it happened.
it was in the room where it happened with Hamilton and Jefferson.
So are we going to believe the history books or Hamilton? Because I'm
I'm
good
gonna
either way.
I'm gonna believe Hamilton
Okay, Hamilton all the
because
way.
it's in the room where it happened.
So the city was designed by a French engineer, Pierre Charles Lafont, who envisioned a grand capital with wide streets and significant landmarks. The city's growth was slow initially. The War of 1812 saw British troops burning the Capitol, the White House, and other public buildings. Also, Washington became the center for the Union war effort during the Civil War, leading to a rapid expansion and significant influx of freed slaves.
Okay.
So that's just very, very brief. And now we're going to get to the haunt.
Ooh.
So the first place we're going to talk about is the Capitol building. In 1898, the Philadelphia Press described the Capitol building as the most thoroughly haunted building in the world. Now, that was
Oh,
1898. I don't know if that would still stand now because we
crap.
have more information that travels
Yeah.
faster and we've had a lot more tragic stuff happen since then.
Yeah.
That's what they called it. The building is one of the oldest in the cities and has been the epicenter of drama, both high and low, for over 200 years. While the Capitol has been the venue for crucial national and international decisions, it has also witnessed its share of violence, heartbreak, and just mayhem in general.
Yeah. A lot of violence.
Lot of violence.
A lot of violence recently.
Recently, yes. George Washington laid the cornerstone in 1791. The original plans envisioned a building that, while intended to be the most impressive in the young nation, was far more modest than the grand structure we see today. Those plans were created by William Thornton, a notable scholar originally from the West Indies. As nearly every history of the Capitol notes, he was not a professional architect. In late 1700s America, it was not uncommon. Architecture was starting to evolve into a distinct discipline separate from construction, a development that was even less advanced than architecture. In 1802, Thomas Jefferson appointed him as head of the patent office, which better suited his skill. British professional architect Benjamin
Benjamin. Benjamin. That's what I'm going to
Bren-
name my first child.
awesome, Benjamin.
Benjamin. Yep.
Benjamin Water Truck
Yep.
I like it.
Benjamin water truck footprints.
Speed Water Truck Decapitated Chicken.
Yeah, that one.
That one.
Yep.
I like
His
it.
middle his middle name will be water truck dash decapitated chicken.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it a lot. So we'll try that again. British professional architect Benjamin Latrobe was enlisted to streamline the operations and advance the ambitious capital project. Among his many notable contributions was relocating the House and the Senate chambers to the second floor, facilitating air circulation beneath them to provide some relief from the hot and humid summers, as they obviously did not have AC at the time, but they did have
Miserable.
a cooler earth at the time.
That's also true. Yeah.
That's also true. Yes.
Yeah.
For the Senate, this involved dividing the expansive Senate chamber into two levels by adding a new floor below. To construct this new floor, Latrobe employed stone ribs supported by brick piers to create a vaulted ceiling. This innovative approach was particularly appealing because it did not rely on the unstable earlier construction.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds pretty.
So the newly created space on the ground floor eventually became the old Supreme Court chamber, which is still occasionally included on Capitol tours. If you want to go to DC and take a Capitol tour.
Have you been to the Capitol?
I have not.
No,
I
me
mean, not
neither.
like a tour, not a tour. I've seen the outside of it.
Oh, well, yeah, but I've never been inside.
Yeah, same.
Hashtag where were you on January 6th?
At home in
In Florida.
disbelief.
I wasn't even living in Florida yet, but I was in Florida. That was my birthday.
I know.
Yeah. I can't tell anyone about my birthday anymore without getting like a side eye.
Well, when you tell them your birthday is January 6th, if they start to say something, you go, yeah, the Epiphany, when the three wise men found Jesus in the manger.
Didn't even know that.
Well, you do now.
I do now.
The court occupied this chamber from 1810 to 1860, after which it was relocated. This was all fine, yet the Capitol wasn't Latrobe's sole project. He brought on his friend John Lenthal to oversee things when he couldn't be there. Lenthal was appointed clerk of the work, a role that we would today call a construction manager. The design was complex, and Lenthal tried to save costs by using less materials and altering the design. When the moment arrived to remove the wooden support, Latrobe thought it was a premature decision. The stone brick vaulting collapsed, and Lenthal was fatally crushed
Mm.
in the accident. And as he lay dying, he uttered a curse upon the very building that had taken his life.
I mean, fair. I feel like he tried to tell them this is premature. Don't do this
No,
shit.
no, 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 no. Latrobe told him it was premature, and Lenthal was like,
Oh,
"No, we're going to do it anyway."
we're going to do it. Okay, well, then he deserves to die. It was his decision. Why is he cursing the
I don't
building?
know that he deserves to die, but
No, okay, he doesn't deserve to
definitely.
die, but he shouldn't curse the building when it was his decision
Yeah, but
to
he did.
remove it. Well, what a
I
jerk.
agree. I agree. He shouldn't have. But Latrobe found himself haunted both personally and professionally by his friend's untimely death. Yet it appeared Curse of Lenthal had spared Latrobe from direct guilt, instead plaguing the Capitol building itself. Over the past 2 centuries of expansion, unexplained structural issues, mysterious crumbling columns, and even delays in completing the Capitol Visitor Center were attributed to the curse spoken by John Lenthal.
Well, I can tell you that John's curse is still alive today.
Yes, I think we have seen that play out.
So, John, know in your grave, know that you're still cursing us.
Right.
You're still making bad things happen at the Capitol. That's who we have to blame.
Brilliant. Okay. So now we're going to move on to the ghosts of the Rotunda.
Ooh.
So as the nation developed, it became clear that the Capitol needed to expand too. Both the House and notably the Senate chambers were becoming too cramped, prompting Philadelphia architect Thomas Walter to devise new plans. His design called for 2 additional wings, sheathed in marble.
Ooh, pretty
The new
marble.
wings greatly overshadowed the old copper-clad wooden dome, prompting plans for a massive 288-foot cast iron replacement. By 1861, President Lincoln took his oath under the still incomplete dome amidst the turmoil of the Civil War. Despite the nation's crisis, Lincoln pushed for the construction to proceed, finding solace in the installation of the Statue of Freedom atop the dome in 1863. Completion of the dome occurred in 1866 after his death, honoring Lincoln's vision.
Oh, so we never got to see it?
No, that's
That's a
sad.
shame. It is sad.
Dismantling the old dome posed to be a challenge, leading Thomas Walter to enlist the expertise of a master carpenter, Pringle Slight, which, I'm
Pringle?
sorry, is a wonderful name. Pringle
Pringle
Slight.
Slight.
Doesn't
That
it sound
is,
like the name of like an elf or like elf or
it
something?
does.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to take back what I said earlier. My first child's name is going to be Pringle.
Pringle?
Pringle, boy or girl, I don't care.
Don't care. Gonna be water truck decapitated chicken?
It might have to be Benjamin. Pringle Benjamin.
I'm not gonna lie, Jen, I really like it.
I know, Pringle
Pringle
Benjamin.
Benjamin. I'm not
These are for
having
my
any more kids.
fictional future kids that I don't plan on having, by the
Oh,
way.
yeah.
So,
Well, I can't have any more because I'm old.
you're not that old.
I'm old and I no longer possess the body parts needed to have a child.
Well, that's fair, but that's not because you're old.
No, but I am also old. And the
I'm just
last
trying
thing
to
I
be
want
nice.
is another child now.
That's fair. Now you have a grandbaby
I
that
have
you
a
get
grandbaby
to,
and she is beautiful.
yes, and you get to hold and cuddle and snuggle and spoil and then give her back.
Exactly. And that's
Yeah.
really the best part.
My parents aren't getting grandbabies.
What about your brother?
No, he doesn't want kids either.
How
They
do
have a
your parents
grandpuppy.
how do your parents feel?
I think initially they were upset, but they have both also said that they also just really enjoy their life for now. Like, my dad's retired. My mom is going to be retiring in a few years. And as much as they would like grandkids, they also know that, especially me who lives here, would take complete advantage of them if I had kids. So I think they're okay, especially when they hear about how much my aunt and uncle do for my cousin's son, Mason. And yeah, they do a lot for him and, pick him up from school and babysit and all this. And they're like, yeah, we don't really have to worry about that.
I have 5 kids. Growing up, I always wanted to be a mom, and I loved being a mom. It's hard, very, very hard. And for me, it was the absolute right decision, but it is not for everyone. And people that know that it's not for them, please don't have children.
Exactly. I'm too selfish to have kids. I know it. I'm too selfish. And everyone is like, oh, that'll change when you have a kid and blah, blah, blah. And yeah, it probably would, but I don't know. I'm always on the fence where if I met somebody who was like the right person for me and they were like adamantly wanted kids, then I would consider, but I wouldn't push the subject.
Yeah. Okay, back to Pringle Slight.
Pringle Slight, that's where this
Yeah.
conversation led off to.
Slight, who had contributed to the construction of the original dome, designed by Charles Bulfinch, had served as the capital's
Bullfinch?
Bullfinch. I'm telling you,
Okay,
the names are on point here.
the names are on point. Snaps for the names. Come
I'm
on.
not kidding.
Bullfinch.
Charles Bulfinch had served as the capital's handyman ever since, familiar with every hidden detail. Figuratively, that's a hard word.
That is
Sometimes
a hard
people,
word.
words are hard.
They are.
They are. So, figuratively speaking, he
And I'm
knew.
not cutting that part out, by the way.
No, don't. Don't, because I'm human, right? And our listeners are human, aren't they? If we
Exactly.
have water trucks and footprints in, we can keep that in.
Yeah. Agreed.
So Bullfinch knew the ins and outs of the structure. Working under the supervision of Captain Montgomery Meigs of the Army Corps of Engineers, Pringle Slate constructed curved ladders to carefully remove the copper cladding in large reusable sections. He also addressed the challenge of the former opening in the rotunda floor by designing a tripod scaffolding to facilitate work above it. To shield the rotunda from the weather during the dome replacement, he engineered a protective wooden roof. His
Okay.
contributions were indispensable in successfully finishing the project. Tragically
Oh, no.
and ironically, Robert Flight, the son of Pringle,
Oh, no,
suffered
not
a
Pringle's son.
suffered a fall onto the wooden roof while working on the dome. Despite surviving several days, he succumbed to his injuries on December 27th, 1861. However, even in death, Robert remained determined to finish his work on the new dome. Visitors have reported sightings of him walking through the rotunda in his work attire carrying his tools on his way to the scaffolding for his final day of work. Sounds very residual if
It
it's
does, it
always
does.
the same sighting.
I was gonna say he was coming back to get back at his father for giving him a lame name like Robert when his
Right,
father's name was Pringle.
right.
I mean, I'd be pissed if I was his kid.
You know what they say about Pringles, once you pop, you can't stop.
Once you pop, you can't stop. I'm sure that's exactly how Pringle was.
I'm sure.
That's how he had Robert.
Right. Can't stop, won't stop. So, Robert Slight isn't alone in the haunting of the Rotunda. Since Senator Henry Clay's time, the Rotunda has been revered as the premier site for national figures to lie in state. 29 Americans have been given this honor, with Ruth Bader Ginsburg being the most recent in 2020. And
RBG forever.
I have a t shirt that is WWRBGD. What would Ruth Bader Ginsburg do?
I love that.
Yeah.
I made a couple t-shirts with my Cricut and t-shirt press right after she passed away that had some really cool designs with like her face, and there's a lot of cutting out and weeding that I had to do with all the iron on, but it was worth it. It was amazing.
I have my little crocheted Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Oh, I wish everyone could see that.
I know it's so cute.
We'll have,
A friend of
we'll have to
mine
post a picture of it.
made it. Yeah, definitely. So
Yeah. I need to get that pattern because I crochet. So I need to get that pattern from your friend because I want to make one.
I can ask her
Yes, please do.
if I can remember which friend made it, because I have a couple friends that crochet.
Well, you know it wasn't me.
I know it wasn't you. What was the last thing I said?
Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Being the most recent in 2020. All have rested upon the Lincoln cotafleck. Cotafleck.
Cotafleck.
Cotafleck. It's like I don't know, it looks like a French word, which makes sense, I guess.
Cotafleck.
A platform quickly assembled from rough pine boards following his death, which is now a prominent exhibit at the Capitol Visitor Center. Among those who have lain in state is also the unknown soldier from World War One. Legend
Oh.
has it that when the unknown soldiers from World War II and the Korea and Vietnam conflict are laid to rest, a soldier dressed in the uniform of a World War One doughboy briefly appears, snaps a sharp salute, and then vanishes into thin air.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, so he was
I love
definitely
that.
honoring.
Yeah. I know they've reported a lot of soldier ghosts and spirits that haunt like Arlington Cemetery
Um,
that
well,
have a lot of the
it
similar
makes
type
sense,
things.
kind of. I imagine if I'm dead, I think the last place I want to stay is the cemetery.
That's true, but if you are a spirit of a soldier, knowing that other soldier families are coming there to, mourn and lay to rest their loved ones who've passed away, might be a place that you decide to hang out to be there for the families and to support.
I tell my kids that when I pass away, that I don't want them to, I mean, I want them to grieve, cry, grieve, because that's what helps you process it and helps you kind of properly store it in your brain where you can then start to move on with your life. But I tell them,
Yeah.
if you want to look for me, if you want to look for signs of me, go to Norway and take the Nordland train to the Arctic Circle. Go to Hawaii and look for me in the sunset. Go to
Oh, that's so
Paris and
sweet.
look for me on the Eiffel Tower. Because the one thing I want for them is to live their lives to the absolute fullest. I want
Yeah.
them to travel. I want them to see the world. So if they need to look for me, those are the places that I'm going to be.
Yeah. My family has always strongly believed that our past loved ones show themselves as animals
Yeah.
that, after they pass away. So I think At least for me, I don't know if it started before this, but for me, I think it started with my Aunt Carolyn, who passed away of cancer many years ago. And she always loved butterflies. So whenever we see a butterfly, we think that's her coming back to say hi. My cousin David, who passed away in 2020, he is a cardinal. He went to a school where his mascot was a cardinal. So whenever we see cardinal, that's him. My grandmother, who passed away a couple years ago, is a bluebird because her favorite song was Over the Rainbow, which is
Oh,
why I want to get my next tattoo that I want to get is a rainbow watercolor splatter with 3 bluebirds flying over it for the song
I
when they
love
say
that.
happy little bluebirds fly. So she's bluebirds. And yeah, I think that's kind of always been my thing with my family. And, we see our loved ones in animals.
I love that. You do know that we are going to have to get matching tattoos of the logo for the podcast. Are we getting tattoos when I come to visit you?
I can't afford it.
No.
Yeah. I need this podcast to take off so I can have some
More
spending
tattoos?
money. More tattoos like our podcast so I can get tatted.
If you listeners like, subscribe, and give us 5-star
Rate.
reviews on
Yes.
this podcast, Jen will have no choice but to get a water truck and footprint tattoo.
I will get a water truck and footprint tattoo.
Make it
I
happen.
will.
Make
Make it
it
happen,
happen.
y'all.
So
Make
I
it
am I
happen.
do not have any tattoos right now.
I have 2, but I want more.
My first one, I would like to get something for my granddaughter.
Yeah. That's really sweet.
Yeah. Okay, so we have one more story to go through here.
Yay.
And this one is the demon cat of the Capitol.
Go demon cat. This is the whole reason why she did this episode was because I brought up the demon cat. That, for those of you who do not know, was a name that was actually in the running when the Washington football team was planning on redoing their name and switching it. And my ex's brother was actually, I guess he was used to be a season ticket holder, and he was like still on the email chain or whatever. So that's how he got the list that fans could vote on, because I think they only sent it out to like season ticket holders. And that was one of the names. And I am a hardcore Ravens fan and will be to the day I die. But at the time, I said that if the Washington football team chose the Demon Cat as their mascot, that I would have to convert. And I wouldn't have given up the Ravens, but I would have had to buy all the Demon Cat merchandise because
Right. I mean, how could you
you
not?
don't get a cooler mascot than a Demon Cat.
I also refuse to believe that if the fans were voting on the name for the team, that what is it? What are they called? The Commanders?
The Commanders,
Yeah,
I
like
know. The
that
fans
did
were
not
not
win.
voting.
That did
That
not
did
win
not win.
over Demon Cats. However, I did do a little bit
No.
of research on this, and there is actually Washington has a roller derby league, and their name
Ooh,
is the Demon Cats.
that's amazing.
So we might have to look up their merch.
We might, because I will buy their merch
Absolutely.
just to have a demon cat. I need to see what their mascot looks like
Okay.
because I need demon cat merchandise in my life.
Sounds good to me. Okay. So the Demon Cat of the Capitol. The Capitol's most famous ghost is the renowned Demon Cat. Each version of the tale differs, but generally, the cat is spotted at night in the lower levels of the Capitol, frequently in the crypt intended for George Washington, though it was never utilized. When initially glimpsed under the flickering lantern light, it seems like an ordinary tabby cat, albeit somewhat unusual, but not too particularly alarming, considering the perpetual issue of mice and rats in the Capitol. And let's not even get started on the politicians. Cat were employed specifically as Mausers. I'm sorry, right
Sorry.
there. It was right there. They were all the mice and rats in the Capitol, and I was like, "Are we talking about the politician?"
Are we? talking about? Yeah.
Yeah.
Fun fact for those who have never thought about it and broken down the word, but poly in Latin means many, and ticks are blood-sucking creatures. So politics means many blood-sucking creatures.
Nailed it. Okay. So, like I said, cats were employed as mousers. Like they would get cats to take care of the mice and the rat problem.
Pretty common.
However, the cat glowing with a fierceness likened to a fire engine blazing into one of Washington's infamously dark alleys. As the witness remains frozen, whether from fear or some inexplicable supernatural force, the cat advances, steadily increasing in size. The terrified observer insists it grows to the proportions of an elephant, or at least that of a large tiger. Now, that made me laugh. That made me laugh when people were saying it was the size of an elephant or at least the size of a
Or a
large tiger,
tiger.
because those are
Those are
two
very
very
different.
different sizes that we're talking about here.
Very, very different. And I don't care if, unless it is some type of supernatural thing that is freezing me in my spot. If I saw a glowing cat that started to increase in size as it got closer to me, I would run to that cat to snuggle it. I'm just saying.
I mean, any kitty. I mean,
Yeah,
if it was a large tiger, I'm gonna be like, here, kitty, kitty.
right. Exactly. I'm going to love it.
Right.
I mean, who hasn't wanted to snuggle a tiger?
Um, I
Everyone's
I
wanted
once
it.
got to pet a baby tiger, like
Oh,
baby tiger.
oh. Was it at Tiger King's farm,
No,
zoo, whatever you want to call it?
no, it was not.
Okay, that's good.
It was somewhere like that though. That we just happened to see, like kind of off the side of the road in Iowa. And when we went in there,
Because Iowa's famous for their
they
tigers.
we really are. These people had like kind of like a Tiger King type of place. We didn't know what exactly was in there because it said it was a zoo. And we walked in, they had
Yeah,
baby tigers like in the very front, like little ones, not like, I'm not talking even like the size of a house cat baby tigers.
right, right.
But once we saw what was going on there, it was really sad.
Yeah,
It was really sad.
usually is.
Back to the demon.
Yes, more demon cat.
At last, the demonic cat lets out a fierce yowl, its eyes blazing and mouth agape as it leaps towards the onlooker. Yet every time it leaps clean over their head and it vanishes into darkness, unlikely to be seen again soon. As the
Okay,
watchman,
sorry, I have to stop you. If it gets closer and it is the size of an elephant, how is something the size of an elephant leaping clean over your head?
still has the agility of a cat, it's just the size of an elephant.
But the room can't be that big.
I don't think ghosts worry about ceilings and walls.
Fair. But still, the size of an elephant seems like a slight exaggeration. Is the room even big enough that you could fully see a cat the size of an elephant? Are the ceilings tall enough for that?
I have no
Or
idea.
do you only see the elephant
It's
legs?
like in a crypt. Who knows?
Yeah, that's
You do
interesting.
not know what these people have going on underground at the Capitol.
That's fair.
There could be a
That's
whole
fair.
city under there for all we know.
There probably is. It's probably where they hide the reptile people.
You know, I saw a TikTok the other day where somebody had proof that Hillary Clinton was a lizard person.
Oh, amazing. I'm glad someone finally caught it
Right.
on camera
Yeah.
or proof of
I
some
was
sort.
totally convinced by it.
Was she eating babies as well?
She was not eating babies at the time.
Okay. At the
At
time,
the
but
time.
it's insinuated.
But a
I mean,
large
a lizard person,
would eat a baby.
they have,
Right?
yeah, they have to eat babies. I mean, what
I
else do
mean,
they eat?
I don't know. I don't know what lizards eat, but
Well, lizards do not eat babies. I can promise you that.
But if they eat something that's alive, like a snake would eat like a live rat, if it was a large lizard person, maybe a small human, because sometimes snakes will eat other snakes. I know we're not talking about snakes,
They
we're talking about
do.
lizards, but
We're talking about lizards. Yeah, I mean, I'm just thinking if it's a lizard person, that their mouth is the size of a human person with just like a long tongue that maybe like jumps out and like grabs things. And unless they've got like the snake jaw that can like dislocate to open, they
well, I mean, she's a
are.
lizard human, so I'm sure she'd use a fork and knife.
That's
It
true.
doesn't
I
say
mean,
she's a
cutting the
savage. Yeah,
babies up. Yeah, she's not a savage. Okay.
right.
That's fair.
That's
That's
okay. So, since many of the nighttime observers were watchmen of the Capitol or Capitol police officers, it was not unusual for them to take a shot at it. In 1862, a watchman fired at it, but nothing was hit and no corpse of a giant cat was ever discovered. Over time, a legend emerged surrounding the feared demon cat, believed to be a harbinger of doom, appearing before national calamities. According to claims, this ominous feline was cited prior to significant events such as Lincoln's assassination, the stock market crash of 1929, and the Kennedy assassination.
yes,
That is
that
the
is what I
demon
read about
cat.
the demon cat. Yeah, that it was always seen before major national disasters. I when I briefly looked up when I was figuring out what it was when I saw it on the list of possible names for the Washington football team, I thought I read something that said it was also seen before 9/11.
I did not find that. Actually, one article I read said that it was missing from like that they
Oh,
didn't
okay.
say it was seen before 9/11. There were a couple other notable things that have happened that they also don't have any reports of, but you also remember this just has to be people that are reporting it. Some
Right.
people may
And
think
it
they see a large demon cat and think, I'm going insane. I'm not telling anyone about this.
yeah. Or maybe sometimes he just looks like a cat
Maybe.
and is seen out of the corner of someone's eye and they don't report it.
My aunt had a cat named Monkey that I'm pretty sure was a demon cat.
I've met some demon cats in the past.
Yeah. Monkey terrorized us as children. My aunt had stairs that like you would go up and then there was a platform and you would turn and go up. And as kids, if we were like going up the stairs, the cat would hide around the corner of the platform. And as we went up the stairs, he would just launch through the air at us.
You call it you mean a landing?
A landing? Yeah.
Yeah, that's a landing. You said a platform.
Did I say a platform?
You said a platform.
Right. Well, whatever. The thing that's there with carpet on it that you walk on that's flat when your stairs go up and then you have to turn and go back up the other direction.
That's called a landing,
Listen,
not a platform.
on my house, it's a platform, and that's where I hear my footprints.
Okay, that's where your footprints
That's where
are.
my footprints are.
Mhm.
Monkey was definitely a demon cat. One year, they used to put the cat in timeout. Like they had a timeout room for the cat. This is before they had kids, of course. But they had to put the cat in the other room. We were all at my aunt's house for Christmas. And after they let the cat out, the cat came down the stairs, walked across the room, and sat there just looking at everybody, and then tore off running across the room, leaped in the air into the Christmas tree, and knocked the entire thing over.
Yeah, I've heard that cats do that with Christmas trees.
He was an evil little shit.
I I like cats, don't get me wrong, but I'm a dog person. And I know you have 2 cats, Kelly.
I like animals. I have a dog.
Yes.
I have 2 cats. We have a hamster. We have a snake.
You
Rebecca
used to have
has
a
a
guinea pig.
tarantula.
Do you remember your guinea pig?
I do remember the guinea pig,
Rodney.
Rodney. He was a
Mhm.
sweet, sweet
He was
baby.
he was a sweet baby.
Funny story about Rodney. When Rodney died, we knew that he was nearing the end. And I think it was Rebecca woke up in the middle of the night and came downstairs and she for whatever reason, went over there and realized that he was dead because he was in the living room
Oh,
downstairs.
yeah.
So she went upstairs and she woke up Emily and she said, Emily, Rodney died. And then she turned around and she went into her room and laid down to go to sleep. Emily gets out of bed, goes into Rebecca's room and was like, what are you doing going back to sleep? And Rebecca goes, oh, Rodney died, you know? And Emily goes, we have to wake up mom and dad. And Rebecca's like, they get up in like an hour and a half. They'll see that Rodney's dead when they wake up. And Emily, being as dramatic as she can be, says to Rebecca, Becca, there is a dead thing in our living room.
That
Just
sounds like
freaked her
Emily.
out. So they woke us up. We had to remove Rodney from the living room. And it was a very
Where
sad
did you
day.
put him?
I will not say, as I would not
Okay.
wish to incriminate myself,
Okay. Fair.
but he was honored
Okay. That's good.
for his final resting place because we loved
That's good.
Rodney so, so much.
Yeah. I mean, there's only so much you can do when an animal passes away. I had 2 hamsters with my ex, and I mean, what do you do? Like, we were renting, so we couldn't, like, bury him anywhere, right? It wasn't our yard. So, you say some words, you shed some tears, and you put him in the trash can. What else are you gonna do? Like, I loved my 2 hamsters, and I was devastated when they died, but there's not much else you can do with their bodies.
Right. I mean, you're not going to take him to have him cremated.
No, not something like that. They're gonna pay so much. It's ridiculous how much cremation cost.
Well, we did when Spoopy passed away, Rebecca's cat. We did have her cremated and we have her little urn sitting over next to my father's urn.
Yeah, good place to have it. I think cats and dogs are obviously a little bigger. Like, yeah, you're not just gonna put their bodies in, like, the trash can.
When
Generally,
his
you're gonna
time
either
comes, he will be in an urn next to my dad and next to Spoopy.
he'd better be. Yeah, my parents had Abby cremated, which is their dog that passed away earlier this year, and that was the first dog that they had cremated. Mitzi was buried in our backyard at our old house, and when we moved out, or I guess when they moved out, I was already moved out at the time, but when they moved out, they had to take up the little grave marker
Oh,
because
no.
they didn't want the new owners to know that a dog was buried there, so
Yeah.
they took up the little grave marker, but she's still buried there as far as I know.
Animals can be very special and they can also be demon cats.
They can also be demon cats.
That is all that I have for today's episode. I want to thank you for embarking with us on this historic journey through the haunt of Capitol Hill. As you explore America's capital, remember this:
If it's not your ghost.
it's not your problem,
Until next time, stay spooky.
and stay skeptical.